One love to the humble, one love to the humble, one love to the humble. Grace and peace be multiplied unto you. Hey, listen, if your life is having trouble or things are not going so well in your life, I really, really hope and pray that everything starts to get better for you and everything starts to go in the way you want it to go. Just keep your faith, keep believing in yourself, never give up, and I guarantee you things will start to change. So I got another great video request from the good brother Trey Day. Trey Day, a video request from the good brother Trey Day. And the question is, um, what led to the demise of the Black Panther Party? And that's one of the questions. And really, basically, would they be effective today? How effective would they be today? And I put a lot of thought into this one. I'm kind of familiar. Well, not kind of. I'm very familiar with the Black Panther Party. Very, very familiar, and I understand. I'm not saying I understand all of the inner workings. I wasn't there, doing that when they was doing that. But what I'm saying is, I understand their structure and what they were trying to do. So, a little history about the Black Panther Party. There was a group that started by Huey P. Newton and Bobby Seale. They started off back in the '60s, um, organizing, and the goal at first, from what they explained, the way it's explained, is to protect the Black community, to look out for people in poverty, to help those people rise up and come out of the situation that they're in, or just simply have help. Excuse me for waving my hand. Excuse me, but to have help and to help them better themselves and come out of the situation that they were in, and just be taken care of. Because during that time, the Black community was really in a bad situation. I don't think it's too much different today than what was going on then, in my opinion. That's just my opinion. But that's what they were doing. They were just basically trying to help the lower side of the Black community, those who were in more poverty than others. That was their main goal, as far as I understand it. And Bobby Seale, Huey P. Newton, they are the founders of the Black Panther Party. And to be honest with you, these guys were not just some guys off the street that decided to organize and create something like the Black Panther Party. It was some very intelligent people in the Black Panther Party. Very intelligent men, very intelligent women. I'm not saying you are intelligent just because you graduated from college, but those particular people were very intelligent. They were very smart. And you can't do something on the level that they did it on and not have some type of education and not have some type of understanding of how the world works and how America works and what goes on. It's a lot of things you have to know to be an organizer. That's why today we always talking about we need to organize, we need to do this, we need to do that. But that's going to be kind of hard to do without the proper education and without understanding what comes with that type of stuff. It ain't something you can just throw together and make it happen. You got to have some type of common sense. You got to have some type of intellect, and you got to have some type of knowledge. I'm outside. It's cooler than it usually have been, and these gnats are everywhere. They want to bother me right now, but I'm not going inside. I'm gonna shoot this video right here where I'm at. But that's particularly what was going on with them. They were very intelligent people from the aspect of organizing and putting together what they did. And it became big. It was big in Cali, and it did spread across the United States. As you all know, it spread all the way over to Chicago with Fred Hampton. And a lot of people might not know, but Fred Hampton was only 21 years old when he was murdered. Go back and look at some of Fred Hampton's videos. Go back and look at some of his speeches and some of the things he was doing, and you will understand what I'm saying when I say he was just 21 years old. Somebody like him is not someone that is not your average 21-year-old. He has something in him that most 21-year-olds don't have, and that's direct. And any 21-year-old can have this, but most 21-year-olds are not focused like he was focused. Most 21-year-olds ain't worried about being revolutionaries and learning and studying and gaining knowledge. It's not what most 21-year-olds want to do, especially not today. Because we are comforted today. We have too many comforts today for to have anybody like Fred Hampton to reemerge or reappear. That's kind of difficult to do when a comforted society, when everybody is giving everything and they have no reason to fight and they have nothing to strive for that's bigger than themselves. So that can become a problem when you're talking about replicating what they did. They had had all of the right people in all the right places. Unfortunately, in our community back then, black people did not understand the Black Panther Party. We today has been sensationalized. It's been romanticized. So today we see it differently than what they saw it then. We are not the same black people today as they were during that time. Black people back then were very prideful and self sufficient. They didn't really like a lot of help. They didn't want they didn't like that kind of stuff. Organizing and creating this and that, they wasn't with it. Excuse me. If I keep blowing into the mic, I'm not trying to. These gnats just flying around, they disturbing me. But like I said, I'm not going anywhere. I'm gonna fight. We're gonna have to fight it out. We're gonna have to fight it out here today, because I ain't going nowhere. But so black people there were different than black people today. They didn't stand for stuff like that. They wasn't with it. You know what I'm saying? Black people were more prideful. There was more about building, and it was about class, even among each other. So black people didn't see, like we today, we say black, we talk about everybody. They wasn't about everybody back then. They were about classism. So if you wasn't in this class, then you were excluded. They had situations back then where black people didn't even want certain other black people moving into their neighborhoods. The things that we be concerned about, what you think white people may say today, but back then it was more like black people doing it to each other. They was like, nah, we don't want them in our community because they didn't understand the culture. You know, they didn't understand how things moved in certain neighborhoods, and they knew that if you let certain people in, it was going to be a problem. And it's the same way today, but today we don't have that same wall up. And you let certain type of people in your neighborhood, they will be disruptive, and it will be destroyed. So that's kind of why it wasn't so accepted back then when they was doing what they was doing, because they was creating problems that black people didn't want. Black people wanted to move past certain things and become better in their minds, at least what they thought, but that wasn't the case. So they told their kids, stay away from the Black Panthers, don't deal with them, don't talk to them, just stay away. But one thing that reigns supreme or reigns true amongst us black people, we will, if the money is right, the setting is right, we will betray each other. That's just the way it goes. And I think everybody does it, but what we do is put on Front Street. And people have to understand how that goes, right? So the other question is, um, was it a sabotage or infiltration? It was both. It was sabotage and it was infiltration, because again, most black people were not with it. They were just not with the Black Panther Party at all. I know they try to make you believe that today. They want you to believe that it was all love and that all black people down. It's not true. Now today, before I get ahead of myself, let me stay right here. Um, they were not all down for it. They were not all with it. They were not all supportive of what they were doing. It was something new, and it was going to cause a disruption, and it was going to make black people look a certain way, and certain type of black people on certain levels were not with it. They didn't want to look that way. They didn't want to seem like they was like this. They wanted to get past certain things, but with a group like the Black Panther Party, they wasn't going to be able to get past it. And as far as sabotaging, yes, they were sabotaged. There's no question about it. And they were infiltrated. Oh yeah, and it was, you know, we have an organization like that. It becomes a threat to national security. And some people don't understand that. I'm not going to get too deep into that part. Do your own research. I advise you to do your own research of what it means to be a threat to national security, but that's what they were. And whenever you become a threat to national security, the government is going to be all over you. I mean, I'm talking about they're going to be all over you if you really a threat. Ain't nobody today that big of a threat. Not today. We don't have that problem today. I don't care what organization you think. I don't care what person you think. There is nobody out here today, black, that you heard of that's on that level right there. Not one. Not one. And I mean not one. Because you wouldn't survive. It would not survive if that was the case. So any group or any organization that you see that's still going on right now, they're not a threat at all. Just remember that. But anyway, they became a threat to national security. A group like that, they're not following any of the guidelines of the United States, and they bucking the system. And that's exactly what they were doing. They were bucking the system, and they were about communism. Is what they were about. They wasn't about capitalism. They was about communism. They talked about it, especially Fred Hampton. He spoke about it a lot. And if you look at their structure and what they were about, that's what they always talked about more than anything else. Now, they did get infiltrated. They sent people in, black people, because you take somebody, if you want to tear down any organization, it's infiltrated. I mean, all organizations have been infiltrated, no matter what race it is. They all been infiltrated, and they all people get inside. They find out the inner workings and find out what's going on, find out your weaknesses, find out the things you like to do, and they'll supply that for you. And you don't even you think things just happening normally, but it's not. It's all a trick. But you don't know it's a trick. You think it's just part of the day. Nothing. And when you're in an organization like that and you got a name and you are your organization is strong and big, you got to remember that nothing is ever just happening off by chance. You got to always think in the mindset that something is happening. Somebody is behind all of this. It's not just happening. Okay, you got to remember that. But anyway, I don't think nobody today is going to try to do nothing like that again. But the point I'm making is that's what happened to them. They sent black people in and into the organization, and they'll the government. One thing about the government is they'll go years. They got the long money, unlimited money. They don't have no short money. So that if it take 5 years for that person to get embedded and get in position, they'll wait. And that's what happens. The person get in, they move, they move up through the ranks, they get closer to the people at the top, and then they can share information and stuff like that. That's basically what happens to Fred Hampton. People got inside, got set up, got figured out what was going on, and the guys that supposed to be protecting them, they fell asleep, and supposedly they got slipped something. Supposedly, I don't know how true that is. And then the police came in, busted it down, started shooting. So they say they started shooting, but it's probably a scenario where they set it up where they get fired upon and then they fire back. Don't quote me on this. Do your research, but that's the infiltration part. And it's when they infiltrated, it set it up where Fred Hampton got killed. His wife was in the bed with him, pregnant. Nothing happened to her, from my understanding, but all bullets and rounds went inside of him. And that was the end of him. So they slowly, methodically broke the Panthers down by sabotage and infiltration. They can make a situation look like it's something that it's not. That's not hard to do. Anybody with any kind of sense can do that. And then my other question is, the question that he had for me also was, well, I would answer that. Why did black people hate the Black Panther Party? Because at that time, black people were kind of like moving forward, so they in their minds and that things were getting better, and they did not want to go back to that way, and they figured you coming and being disruptive, you creating problems for us when we're trying to be successful, we're trying to build, we're trying to have houses, we're trying to have homes, we're trying to move up, but you, meaning the Black Panther Party, are not allowing it to happen by creating all this stuff you're creating with the cops and making everybody look at us the way they do. Now, don't get me wrong. the Black Panthers did have programs and they did do things for the youth and for the community, and that's all good stuff. I ain't here to knock it at all. I'm just reporting to you what the facts are, at least from my perspective. And if you have anything that you disagree with or anything that you want to say differently, say that. But I think for the most part, the Black Panther Party tried to do what they could do for the black community, but black people, as usual, we either too far one way or the other. We're not necessarily ready for what is to be done for us. We're not ready to get on board. We say we want this, but when we get it, we tend to abuse it, or there will be always be somebody that's willing to shift and go in and not do what they're supposed to do. It's always one of us ready to throw the rest of us under the bus. That's just the way it goes, and you're not gonna be able to get around that. Okay, so that's why black organizations, it's just senseless to try to start one to build something like to go against the grain. Better find a way to go with the grain to really, really build and do the right thing as far as keeping you from losing your organization and losing your life. Because that was typically what will happen. And Huey P. Newton said he was on drugs. He got shot by somebody in the alley or something like that, they say. Now, why would this man be in the alley buying drugs and getting shot? Why? He was a doctor, if I'm not mistaken. But why would I'm not saying he's above getting himself hooked on drugs, but think about it. Something like that can just happen to him so easily. He's supposed to be protected, right? So you think about it. Infiltration, sabotage, hatred from the black community, all those things. Because that's what we do. I'm not saying I'm not going to, either way you turn it, I have no dog in the fight. But I do know that that's how we do things. Now, today, will that group survive today? I don't know. I really don't know. I mean, we are weaker today than we ever been before. So I don't think it would be a matter of infiltration and sabotage that would have to be a part of it. I just think it will fall apart simply because we ain't got the courage that we used to have anymore. And we worse off today than we were then. We shooting and killing each other today. The Black Panther Party wouldn't stand a chance because it'd be shooting and killing amongst each other. And they would not be able to go down the streets and stop anything from happening because they would not be respected because of the young people today don't respect nothing. They don't respect their parents, so there's no way they're going to respect the Black Panther Party. They'll go try to rob them and take everything from them. That's what they'll probably try to do. So it'd be much more difficult today for them to garner support and grow to the size they grew back then. They'll never be able to replicate that in today's times in society. But much love to the Black Panther Party. R.I.P. to Huey Newton. I can't remember. Last I checked, Bobby Seale was still alive unless he just recently died. But last time I checked, he was still living. But he's not been vocal, and you know, I already know how that go. But hey, the Black Panther Party was a good party. It represented, as far as I understand, some good qualities. But with our community being the way it is, and the way we do things, it wasn't gonna last. It was gonna self-destruct the same way it did. And we're the reason why it self-destructed, not white people. Black people are the reason why it self-destruct. And black people will always be the reason why anything that black people do self-destruct. We're destructive. We don't know how to do things in a certain kind of way that keep it alive. That's my take on that. All right. I don't know what else to say about it. I said everything I had to say. I'm looking for my thing to. I'm looking for the clicker, man, to cut the video off, and I can't find it. Anyway, hey, man, I appreciate y'all watching this video. Thank you so much. One love to the humble. Y'all take care.